Okay, and welcome along to the first ever Point and Reunion podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by Braun, who are a cafe bistro up the town in Derry, and they also have a branch in Belfast. You would be on it, Maggie?
A lot. Connor's a friend of mine. The nicest
The staff's really nice, and Connor's a good fella himself.
Gentleman.
I wonder, is that because they call him Sconesy because he makes a good scone? Or
He does make a scone.
Does he?
He bakes the scones. And has Muller bakes, yes. Has Muller trained him to bake the scones. His scones are absolutely delicious.
And then he's got a head chef called Jesse, who used to be my pastry chef years and years ago. She's
fabulous, Charlie.
She's great. So, if you're up the town, you're looking for something to eat, nice steak and eggs or a nice fry or the breakfast that they also do private parties and stuff like that there. But we'd like to say thanks to Connor and all Braun for sponsoring today's podcast. Today's first podcast, we have guests here. We have local celebrity, Mr. Michael Doherty, who went to the Point On when he was 14. We'll talk about that in a minute. We also have a guy that's been DJing for the last 30 years. He's one of the guests at the 30th Reunion podcast, and you're just back from ADE in Amsterdam.
That's right.
Give it up for Darren McMenamin. And head honcho himself, Mr. Paul P, who started the Point On back in 30 years ago. When he brought the Hellraisers first to start with, and then
I was only 14 then as well.
Well, if you were 14, I was 12. So welcome along, guys. How's things been? All good?
All good.
All good. So we'll chat to Paul first and see about his memories of the Point, because he was the guy that actually set the Point up for things. So Paul, taking you back to 92, 91, 92?
92 I think it was, wasn't it, Charlie? Back in, if my memory serves me right.
And the first one was the Hellraiser, wasn't it?
The first points were the Sundays, basically, in the Point.
That's right,
It kicked off at the Sundays with Chris Hurley. And the Point came about just at the beginning of the rave culture in Derry. Basically, we were doing the venue along with Les Bennett. You know Les, probably. Les was the biggest DJ in Derry at the time. And I used to do the venue along with Les, and dance music started coming on. We used to start playing a few wee records. So everybody was against it because they seen this mad music and didn't like it too much. So we were allowed a wee hour every Friday in the venue to play just after or before the slow set. Okay, so that's all they would give us. So Les and his infinite wisdom thought, right, there's a bit of scope in this. So he went down and he was talking to Frank Short down Point On. And Frank said to him, well, there's a Sunday available down here if you want to take that on. So we went down there and started doing the thing. As you know, famous story, I went down and get Chris Hurley to start playing. I was up in Kelly's one night and climbed up over the DJ box to speak to Chris to get him to come down to do the Point On. And thank God Chris said he would. And from then on, the Sundays were well attended, but it wasn't massive at that stage. It was just starting to take off and people were only starting to get into it. I would have went down, done the warm up, Les would have played a few tunes, and then Chris was probably the most experienced DJ of the whole lot. He came on then at the end and done his bit. And then after a while then, I was going up and down to Belfast all the time and buying records in Belfast, because you had no record shops in there that were supplying that type of stuff. All you had was the odd promo you were getting on. So that's where I met Glenn Malloy, Mark One, all the guys out of Underground in Belfast. Smack a whole lot of them, they all worked in the shop. And I think Glenn Malloy caught me quite a few times with a few dud tunes. And I was talking to them and they said that they were organising Hellraiser. I said, well listen, there's a great venue we're doing on Sundays if you want to come down and do it. And put the gig on down there. So we got talking and they got a lineup together, and the first Hellraiser took place on a Friday night in the Point On. We jumped with Jack Frost.
And that was the first ever Hellraiser in Northern Ireland?
That was the first Hellraiser in Northern Ireland. It happened down in Donegal. So after the Friday was a complete sellout. The place was rammed, jammed, packed to the rafters. And after that, Frank came and said to me, oh no, you wouldn't mind doing this every Friday night, would you? I said, no bother at all, Frank, I'll do it. No. So at the time I didn't want to be a promoter, all I wanted to do was DJ. You know what I mean? And Frank was giving me something like 30 or 40 quid. He probably left thousands that night or whatever, even the bar was busy. And I said, no bother. So as long as I get a chance to play it, the music every week, I was happy. So we kicked off then with the Fridays. Les left at that stage because he had his Friday residency in the venue, which was an institution he was doing for years. So he said,
that's where we all went before we went at the Point On.
I'm not risking that, I'm staying where I am. So we went on in, and because nobody else knew what DJs to get, where to go and get them, that sort of fell onto me. So I just started, there was no internet or nothing, you weren't putting it up at the time, so I just started making phone calls, ringing around, finding out who the agents were, who the things were, who you talked to, and started booking the DJs and all for the point on. And from then on, the Fridays just went through the roof. As you all know, you were there.
So then you ended up picking the DJs for it and putting the residents and stuff together too.
We ended up doing all the promotion for it, so would have done the flyers, bringing down the resident DJs, picking who they were. To get Glenn was a great coup at the time, you know what I mean? And Glenn then, after just meeting Colin Biss, and then Colin came on board then as well. And then from there we just moved about. When you from Derry, when you came on board, you were just part of the party crew at the time.
I think it was. We all were.
And that's how all that just developed. Snowballed. It's like still DJing today, still the same. It's all wee cliques of people that get to know each other basically, and they all look after each other.
What was your first thoughts on the venue at the point on?
On the point, when you went down to it, Frank had done up, he tried to launch a disco thing in it, where it was like a dungeon, and you don't mind it, with the stocks and the parking and all the, at the sides it was all the cages with the skeletons on the side.
It was like Joseph Fritzl's dungeon.
And it just suited a rave down to the ground. It was
Just asking
off
for
the
it.
scale. So when you look at the venue at the start, you go, oh my god, this is going to be fucking mental. You know what I mean? And then low ceilings, very dark, loads of smoke, big strobe lights. So it just ticked all the boxes for me. This is perfect.
When the beds all scattered and the big open fire, the big furnace.
It was what, 2 or 3 open fires?
It was class.
Yeah.
Some sites sitting around them fires.
You're right, hey.
With cheese and ham toasties.
Jay in the back of yourself.
That's basically how it all kicked off.
So was it hard to try and entice English DJs over to the club? Well, I know you got Vertigo would probably been one of the first English DJs that you'd have brought over.
Steve was, I can't even mind the name of Steve's agent at the time, but the first place he came to was Kelly's, and they had developed a following from him there, and then Billy Dunseith was using him for circus and stuff as well, as far as I remember. So Steve was one of the first them we got in contact with, because we knew that would be a pull. You know,
And you would have probably used a lot of Billy's promotions too to start
used a
with.
lot of stuff coming on from Billy and everything else. Rob DeSarah and all came from Billy. And things like that, and then just ringing around everybody else then too to get.
And then at that time, you probably went through record shops too. They they speak to DJs and.
You went through it all, and you spoke to everybody, and everybody would give you information. You know what I mean? And then you found out who the agents were, and you went direct then yourself.
And did you find it much with the troubles going on to try and entice DJs over to Northern Ireland, or did they only go?
It didn't seem to be a major problem. There was some people would have said no, but most of them were only 2-1. Because Belfast even had a great rave reputation at the time for the atmosphere. The Irish crowd would generate, and it was special over here. You know what I mean? It was a bit more lively, I think. People
But I think that there was
they got
nothing like Belfast had all their clubs. They had their Tokyo Joes. They had the Arts College where McCready and Homer would have done. They would have had Tokyo Joe's. Then they'd had Circus out in Banbridge, Thompson's Garage, and Robbie Nelson was doing the Hellsman and Bangor. And them clubs were all really kicking off. But towards the northwest scene, it was only the venue, the likes of Kelly's, and maybe like the Union Hall. Or can you think of?
But Kelly's was the spot, wasn't it? Just before the point came along for us and I thought, I know that's.
Kelly's definitely was the spot. Without a doubt, that was huge.
And like it was great for Chris to be playing on there on a Saturday and then down with us on a Sunday. Like it was unreal.
Massive,
you know, he had a big dairy following too. Like so.
Absolutely.
But no, it was great days. Like so, but it took a lot of effort on your part because you didn't work at that time.
No.
Bar DJing.
I did a wee bit. I was working at the Tire and Exhaust Centre too, but then eventually the party and took over from work.
That's what the Glenbrook Terrace effect has on you.
So I had to give up the song. Had to go, and it wasn't going to be the partying. You know what I mean?
So anybody that was at the point, they would probably remember the house that me and Paul and a couple others all shared together. It was the party house in Derry. Like it was Glenbrook Terrace. Some mad stories and some mad nights on there. Hey, I swear to God. But I'm sure you were there plenty of nights too, Darren. But that's where we all would have think. But then there was a lot of parties and stuff after the point and stuff. But we'll get back to that in a minute. So Mickey, what was you? I know when you went to the point, you were 14.
I was one of the youngest, but I'm actually sitting here because when you says, and I'm honoured because when you says local celebrity and Michael Doherty, you see that's what I thought of using when I was young. I thought you were the celeb. Well, you still are, but like it's mad because I was the youngest there, and my experience was I was turned away at the door, and Orla McGee and God have mercy on Darren Mitchell were on the bus, and Orla says, "What gets you in the toilet?" So I came back out. and she snooked me on the girls' toilets. So I climbed onto the girls' toilets, and oh my god, that was my first experience. And I definitely was the youngest there, and I never must.
Keir Monaghan, but she was
She was caught. Hope she doesn't mind me saying that. We were standing dancing beside one another, and the next thing she got trade in the back of her hair. I looked behind her, it was her man standing, checking her out, her man. They took her out of the point, and I was wearing the white overalls.
and the gloves.
And the white gloves, oh my god, raving away thinking I was the best dancer on there, but I never missed one night at the point on.
No, I know from you were there the first night, snuck on the toilets and never missed an on it.
Never missed one night.
How did you find out about the point on? Was your mates and all
So
talking
basically
about it?
I was going through a rough stage at that time where I was coming from school and I was being really, really badly bullied and stuff, and through that I met Darren as well and stuff, and I didn't know. Somebody just said to me, you know, Michael, did you try the point on to go down for a wee night? You know, everybody's loving one another. It's a great atmosphere.
Wasn't me.
It's a great atmosphere and everybody's dancing away, and it's kind of your thing because you were a dancer in your day. And I was like, oh, this is too young to get on there. But then all the ones from P.I.R Park, you know, Katrina Carlin, Emmett Harkin, God of Mercy, and David Farland and all them ones, they were all going down the bus too as well. And I thought, right, okay, I'll give it a go. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say this honestly, the point on saved my life.
How come?
Because I was suicidal before I went there. Because I didn't. Believe it or not, it was the euphoria in the point on that I got. The music, the people hugging one another, the people. Just there was no rows, there was no fights. You know,
and you were mixing with different communities and
different walks of life.
Everybody was on the same
level. And I was
level.
like, oh my god, I didn't want to go home.
Aye.
Unfortunately, I didn't want to go home, and it had to end.
If it never ended, it carried on for 2
carried
days
on.
after.
And then, but then Kelly's came along, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you never must say end of Kelly's then as well. And then it was like, you were skipping.
That's your weekend, sort of.
So,
oh my
going
God.
back to your story when you snuck on the Wanda, so when you get through them toilet doors, what were you greeted with?
Oh my God. So I remember Sally. I'm behind the counter.
That's the owner's wife.
The owner's wife, Frank Short's wife, and I. To now, I'm only realising that Sally was actually a nurse, even though she was there, how she held down that job of looking after everybody else and going back to nursing, you know, being in that profession myself as a support nurse. And the experience was, I remember a few people standing at the fire. There was an open fire and they had all their tops off, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? You know, I was supposed to be straight at that stage. But and they were all dancing in front of the fire, and I come on and the news were playing, and it just really, really did. The euphoria, but for me, you know, the music was sensational. And
I remember you being always up dancing with the PAs and stuff like that there.
I always loved my favourite was Lana Campbell, and I keep on saying it. She just brought something in me that I could not explain. Same in Kelly's as well, when she played in Kelly's on the Saturday.
What was Lana's band called?
Schizoid. I'll never forget it. I was the youngest there, and I remember her song was Set Your Body Free. Can we get the record? No, I don't know what the story is, but we could never find it. But I mind standing in front of her and I mind crying. I'm thinking, oh my God. You know, someday I'm going to be on a stage as well. I felt that my dream as an entertainer, because I knew I was this boy trapped, and I just got the love and experience from musicians playing music, from the people who was at the point on. You know, the people will share that there was never a riot. It was always just the love and experience from it, and her singing Set Your Body Free. And Amanda Hill as well. She was the band, like, and then the DJs obviously, you know. And at the end of the night, that.
And you must have met a lot of people from all
oh
over
my
Northern
God.
Ireland.
Oh my God, the people that I met, even people who used to go and stand there and dance in front of me. I thought I was the greatest dancer.
But like a lot of people that went to the point and actually met their partners and stuff like that there
So
too,
did
and
that,
their life changing experiences all happened.
No
because of
harmonies,
people they met.
he's all met. I was a third wheel, obviously. I never got off at the point on. You used to off third
I never
wheels.
got off at the point on either.
You got off with Muff instead.
I don't know what they say to that.
Long time since I see Muff. I say that.
So who was your favourite DJ at the point on?
Well, I can't really, because I loved every one of these. I really, really did. I know, but I did love Chris Hurley, and I loved Jacko as well. But I loved every one of these. I really did, because we were the first on there from the bus. You see, coming from Sliedmore, and then you were on first, obviously, and Paul was on, and then the guest DJ would have played. My famous night was the Sunday night to get raided.
With
You were
Justin
there along
Burkham,
with me, yeah. Who was playing that night?
Justin Burkham
Card-
from the Manchester Sound.
Card Cox?
No.
No,
that was
sorry.
Easter Sunday.
Right, that was Easter Sunday.
No, the night that you're on about the raid was the night that was in August or September, and Paul had flew Justin Berkman over from the Monastery of Sound,
right.
and I was doing the warm up, and I was the only DJ that had played at this date, and Justin Berkman was to go on after me, so I always got paid extra to do the lights after my set. So and I remember just standing playing my last tune and seeing the back doors open and all these guards and fucking boiler suits, riot gear,
motorbike
helmets, and I remember one just getting a sledgehammer and just busting the table and fucking two.
And
they pulled the wires out of the speakers and all that there. So they got everybody to sides of the rooms and things like that there, wasn't it?
God almighty, everything was landed for.
The thing that I remember about it the most is I remember them taking you out, I remember them taking bass and people that you knew, and there was just, I remember boys from Belfast just fucking firing money and bags of stuff on the floor and stuff like that there. So Mickey he always stood down below the DJ box, and he had been dancing and stuff, but they didn't let him move. So me and Justin Burkham, and he was from London, I'd never seen anything like this at all in his fucking entire life. They said, what the fuck is going on? So they started taking everybody out of the club and stuff, and then I said to Mickey, fuck Mickey, there's a pile of money down there. What's that there? Fuck, what happened? And there's a bag over there, get that for me. Do you remember that night there?
I remember. I remember. I remember a couple of raids. I would think I was there for 2 or 3 raids. Whatever many times it was raided, I was there then.
3 times.
God almighty, but I have to say, but that was one of the worst case scenarios. You know what I mean? Because it's every other night was brilliant. That was only 3 of the many years that was going on.
4,
oh my God.
about 3-4 years, and then it was hitting us because it stopped for a wee while in between. You know what I mean? Because Frank was under threat too from the area and all too.
I was getting ready from a Thursday. I was getting ready from a Thursday night. From a Thursday night, I was going to Bloomfield, obviously, where you live. I'm up to Alicia's house. We all the crew, all the girls, and we the Friday, just getting 3 hours beforehand before we went to point. It was just the whole week was based on the point on. For the Friday night. It was just a beautiful experience.
It wasn't an experience going down to the point then. It was an experience trying to get through the 2 checkpoints and going through the British Army, and then you had the Irish the guards at the other side
as well,
and then the customs. So from Thornhill to Muff you were pulled on maybe at least 2 or 3 times.
Strip search,
everything. Fucking everything. But do you mind the crack in the buses? I mind the buses that you couldn't have seen it, the windows with steam and stuff like that there.
Oh my God, the crack was 90 in the buses. Best experience was coming down and coming back again as well. It was just, oh my God, unreal. And the DJs were all amazing. I think you've got Jacko and you got Vertigo and Colin Biss and all the guests. It was just an amazing experience.
So we were just chatting there about the journey and the whole way down on the bus and stuff and the checkpoints and all the rigmarole, because like you said, your weekend started on a Thursday getting ready from the point. But
Thursday night, but I went to Bloomfield and sat and should not make me say it. I sat in niches and we were all grouped together as a group of friends and on the Friday then getting ready was the buzz of that. And
then there was a lot.
Man used to drink the MDD, the Mad Dog, the Mad Dog used to drink, and I wasn't actually a big drinker. And them days I really, really wasn't. But
I seen you taking many as a cocktail on the point down.
But and a cheese and ham toast, even salad too as well. But and just getting on that bus. But knowing that once you stopped at the checkpoint, sure, everybody was strip searched. You had to go through. It was like you stopped here, and then you had the guards, you had the British Army, you had the whole way down, and everybody was
And that was in the height of the troubles too.
Oh my God! I pulled out and searched,
and I remember there's friends of mine from Belfast, and they would have came to a point on, but they left about 5 or 6 on a Friday evening, but they still with the whole trying to get across the border and 3 checkpoints. They wanted to be down there from 9, but they maybe never got there till after 10 or something. And then if there was people going down that way, then there'd be a whole backloads. No,
That was madness.
It was madness, wasn't
It
it?
was ridiculous. It was like 3 rings of steel, as you were saying. Like,
But people were still going mental in the bus.
Aye.
The place was upside
The
down.
people
God
banging
American,
the-
Darren
people
Mitchell,
banging the windows.
Darren Mitchell and Oran McGee shouting, hip da, and the whole bus shaking, and the steam bitten everywhere, and everybody sweat. Please get us on the point, and get us on, get us
And
on.
that was before you got the point on, because when you came out of that, you were fucking soaking.
And the sound system on the bus, man.
Sturdy's with a big speaker, that's right.
On the,
I think I remember Sturdy being on top of the bus one night with a speaker.
I think they had the bus like at some beach. I think it was down at Fawn one night after the point with the speakers outside the bus, and the bus full of people. So there was 50 people there straight away. It was a party.
There were some parties after the point. Like do you remember the ones under the bridge?
Definitely.
They were brilliant.
I just
Chris?
I didn't really get to party after the point on because I was so young, you see. Sorry, boys, for your troubles. I was sent home on the bus, so we got off at Superfair to walk to Gala. But quickly I'd go to one party one night, and Vertigo was playing.
Aye.
And I loved the man. He's absolutely the nicest person I've ever met. And
What did
say,
you say to him, mate, the first time you met him?
where to go?
You said to him, if you trip.
Oh, I says, cheeker to my day. He was, when I met him, he was 7 foot, and I was the tiniest thing. And I looked up and says, Jesus almighty, I says, if you trip, you're that tall, if you tripped and fell, you'd end up in Coleraine. I'm standing looking as if to say, what? I said, if you're that tall, if you trip, you're in Coleraine. But he was playing on the party one night in the water side, and I got to go to the party. And I think you were at the party. God have mercy, and Bob was at the party, and the whole crowd of us was there. And I had to get home early, and I was upstairs because somebody was having a date up the stairs, and attic. So I got up and I went up on the attic, and I was like trying to find. I said, "Are you there? Are you there?" But Vertigo was playing down the stairs on the decks. The next thing I came through the room. And everybody was sitting in their own state or whatever state they were in. And the plaster scene was falling over my legs. My legs was flying. And I was all, what the f-? And I heard somebody saying, what the F's going on in this house? I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. But luckily, 3 people, a crew I won't mention, dragged me up through the roof, got me out. And the man I stayed hiding, I see him saying, fuck, he in there, he in there. I was so cool. And I could snook down the stairs, get on the living room. And the boy that owned the house after me said, he says, I'm going to knock that fella out. You ever done it? And I said, no, so would I do as well.
See, when you went through the roof, you used to bike Steve Vertigo's shoulder.
He was teaching the plasters, and they thought it was a miracle coming from somewhere. My legs was dangling. That was my only party I got to go on a Friday night, believe it or not.
Very good.
Wow.
Oh my God. But you don't go to many parties, didn't you? After the point done.
Well, most of our parties would have been back in Glenbrook because we all
Once I
headed
was
back to Glenbrook after the point. But we did all go to under the bridge a couple of times, and
The one I remember under the bridge was the first one, was the Hellraiser, it was just after that.
So-
Belfast came down to the January, put the decks in the boot of the car.
That's right.
It was a Sierra or something like that.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I wasn't in that experience. But was there decks underneath the bridge?
Decks.
DJs playing?
Car, you know, like a boot open.
And no raiding or nothing? No, was it?
no, there was a one fight. I remember that.
Oh my God, he's serious?
And then
Somebody-
just up that whole level of steps was just all people.
Hundreds
It was
of
all
people.
dogs,
Jeez, it was
round the
packed.
bottom,
Oh my
and I just
God.
sat
And it wasn't to say it was just
Uh,
all dairy people. It was people from West
Everywhere.
Belfast,
It was
fucking
legendary,
House,
like.
everything. You know what I mean? It's the same as the White Rocks. Everybody would have went there after Keely's. Like, to be fair, I don't think I was ever on the White Rocks.
No,
I
it was
was
at
on there
Port
once.
Stewart once. It was a good party. Like, it was just people
I
from
heard about that
everywhere,
party.
but,
Port Stewart. So, Darren, we haven't really talked that much to you. You like me, we were clubbers in the point on before we started DJing.
way before, like, you know, as all the stuff Mickey was saying, just getting there. Went to Kelly's for maybe a month or two first, like you both did as well, and just was blown away by, you know, what Chris Hurley was doing. All of a sudden, DJing seemed like really cool, and the music was class. Just instant, I was hooked immediately, like from the first night I went. So the point on was just, you know, I was at the point on from the first night it opened, the Sunday night, and every night for a good long, you know, I might have missed some nights towards the end of it. But as you say, only because I went to the point on as a customer, as a raver, as just like everybody else. Everybody was on that level that you were saying. But through the sort of love for the music and how cool I thought what the guys were doing, Paul and any of the other guys, Glenn, Chris, all of them, the
Boy,
guests.
another great DJ.
I was just hooked. I used to get mixtapes and go back to Bobbles Flat, and me and Joe McDade, God rest him, and loads, Kevin Gallagher and all the sort of my crew at the time. I used to sit and listen to tips just all night and think, oh, I want to do that. So by the time the point was finished, I was already beginning on that path. Like of actually DJing.
Because Paul had given give us a couple of nights in the town and stuff like that there, and then we got the.
Well, I mean, Paul gave me a warm up spot on the point one night, which was like, I couldn't believe this. It was like, wow, getting the DJ in the point. And Jalisco, wasn't that Frank's son? And Sally and them, they knew me at the door as a clubber. So I might landed down with a record bag, with over 10 or 15 tunes in it, and said, I'm playing the night in Jalisco's on. I did all.
I'm getting up here
I know. Instead of sneaking this and you one down. But I think I had the same for you, and you had to be on, no, yes. So, that's, I wasn't a DJ at all. I was just, Paul was giving me a slot there. I was just feeding the fire I had in me,
Because me and you both sort of started DJing at the same time, didn't we?
It was around that time that we met, just before that, and I mind asking you about, I'd never played a set of decks before, but I watched the guys play them.
And then we both ended up buying a set of belt drives, I think.
I didn't even buy a set. Nari and them had a flat, and Nari bought a set, and we built a DJ box on his flat.
Wow.
But they were belt drives too, It didn't really matter what they were.
If you can learn to mix belt drives. Belt drives, they're not...
Just like a cheaper
version. They're drove by a belt, like a record player.
But they're harder to play.
They are harder to play because you're continuously working at them. You know what I mean? Because I remember, I love my granny and granda. And I mean, Colin Bass, close to me, and he came up to call for me one day in my granny's house. He knocked the door, and my granny came to the door, and she was all, who are you? And she didn't know him, and he was all, I'm Colin, but I DJ with Charlie. And she says, well, I don't know if you'll get him because he's up downstairs banging. Bass was looking at her to say, what? She's all, he's up there banging on them things.
But he was.
I think I might call to your granny's house too, and you had the decks. I mind the decks and all, and you had a record collection. So you were at it a wee bit before me. Well, you had stuff, and I hadn't even started yet.
See, before I started going to the point, I was at college. But before that, I'd lived in London for about a year. And my brother's a DJ, as you know, too. He does like discos and weddings and stuff. So I would have sent him back. I was fucking squandered and living in London, so I used to go to Tower Records at night because I'd open 24 hours and I would be going through stuff, and then I would send him home stuff, and then I'd start buying stuff myself. So then that's how I came to, but it would be more like sort of early American house sort of stuff.
I have some, I had more of a personal record collection from when even before the point that I always loved, like the electronic stuff that was out from the breakdance scene, in the mid-80s. So I had some albums, but they were never ever thought about being a DJ. No, this was just music that I liked, that I played on the record player in the house. It was only when I started raving and meeting you and other people and talking about it, and you'd already started doing it, that I thought, I could do that. I want to do this,
It just gets you hooked. So it does.
I think I'd done a party one night in Don's house. I'll just leave it the nickname. But it was a great party, and all my friends were there, and there was a guy who had a set of decks there, and all my friends convinced this guy, go on, let's and have a go. He's dying to have a go, and that was it. And he was all, okay. So I went on and had a go. And I ended up playing the whole night. So, instantly just hooked it. Wow. And that was me. I mean, I'm still on that journey 30 years later.
Did you find it easy to play the text?
Once it was explained to me, I did,
mixing two records together?
I couldn't believe my luck.
But at the start, when you learn your beat mixing.
That's all it was about. It wasn't about trying to be fancy with them or nothing. It was just basically putting two records together with.
Would it be like me being an entertainer, having a list of songs to entertain when I'm going to perform? Is that what you're saying?
You know what song's going to go after.
Right, is that the way you go?
Flow.
And the record scene.
You know what I mean? Record scene.
The DJ
So Darren, what was your favourite night at the point then? They were reminiscing about.
My favourite, jeez, there was so many. There was a man playing one night. It was before the coffee shop opened, before that lower end opened. There used to be a wall there beside the toilets. Wasn't there toilets on each side? A man standing there one night. I'll not go on there what kind of state I was in, but I was standing there at the back of that wall, and it was like a wee ramp going up, and it was in, and Trix was playing, and I'll never forget it. It was like smoky, and it was just shadows, silhouettes of people, heads, and I was sort of looking up, and you could see Trix at the far end, because that's where the DJ box was, and I think it was Age of Love he dropped. That was the first time I'd ever heard it, and it was just like, no, it was just one of many life-changing experiences for me. Like,
that's one thing. You looked out in that club, like I remember standing up, you know, when the main DJs was on doing the lights and stuff, and looking out and just looking at it's like Steve would tell you about the first Halloween ever done. Because the condensation on the roof and the point, you were always soaking and you're hiding your clothes and you're going home, stuff like that there. So Steve was saying that the first night he played was Halloween, and the condensation kept falling on the deck. So he was trying to keep his, he's that big. He was trying to go over the decks to try and drop the dropping. So he never really looked at the crowd. And we got his first couple of tunes mixed in, and he lifted his head up and he says, I remember seeing a pantomime horse, a fucking all witches, goblins, fucking ETs, all that's here, and he's going, what the fuck is this?
I'm not being familiar with Derry Halloween.
But
oh my God.
See, we were doing it before Manumission.
Right. When there was no stage shows.
Thank God.
Maybe the backstage ones.
I was never at the backstage.
Neither was I.
Say nothing. So, Maggie, what were you?
Well, I was just going to ask Paul, what for you? What was your highlight of the point? What was your best night of the point? And if you can remember,
There's not many.
mine was Karen Cox.
Karen
Cox
Sunday night
was one of the best.
Was that the night he got engaged?
No, he got engaged on Valentine's. He came over to Valentine's time and stayed at the Red Castle. Got engaged and then he married him.
He was fucking. He was playing 3 decks that night too, wasn't he? And same as Vertigo has one of his first nights.
Have you memories of that night?
Mind when I hold you, baby.
Entrance.
Oh my God. It was just, I don't know, but I just remember looking up at the DJ box thinking, you are the king. But that was just for me. Because
but he was, wasn't it? Karen Cox was some. Karen Cox was some.
That night was special, and us, everybody was looking around one another. Even the lights came on at one stage, and everybody was just standing there, and you for him looking, thinking, we don't want to go home. You never wanted to go home.
I remember it being really packed.
Shouts at the end, or two,
one more. No. Colin Bishop, her critter was tortured.
Nobody going anywhere.
Colin Bishop was tortured, and then he tempted us. He did. No more. One more. Then all right then.
And it wasn't just a few people shouting. It was like literally everybody was going nowhere.
Until they played.
Until there was no. You couldn't.
It was like a concert. When you go to a concert, you're always going to get an encore. You always knew when you're going to point on the end of the night, there's always going to be maybe 1 or 2 tunes.
Well, Bits and Pieces was always played at the end.
Bits and Pieces was never played in the point on.
No, it was
that's
after.
a Shankill Road anthem.
What's the Bits and Pieces?
It was more like after when we played in Duffy's.
No,
Is that name that tune?
Oh God, what do you call it? No. Oh, he used to play it at the end.
Joe Inferno.
Yes. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up.
Program here.
That's another podcast, isn't it?
That's another podcast.
I'm getting mixed up. I used to play it.
We're talking about Karen Cox. Mine Paul. When the first night, I think it was Valentine's night, or was that Easter Sunday? He had left his headphones. I thought you stole them, but he had left them behind.
I left them behind him, and well, we didn't send them back to him.
No, but we had a party that night, and I remember using them,
they were
sweat, fucking soaking. You think somebody poured fucking Karen Cox? So I sold them on eBay for about £400.
Charlie,
that's where it all went. Right.
So, but then the point and the good thing about it was it brought communities together. Like when you think about it too, I can only speak for myself, but I didn't know a lot of people outside of Derry when I was growing up. Apart from going to college, I would know people that I met from Belfast and things. But when you were in the point and you were meeting loads of people from West Belfast, North Belfast. You were meeting people from fucking Portrush, Korea, Ballymena. Was a big place.
Back to Antrim.
You know what I mean? And I remember standing beside somebody one night and they were saying to me, I'm from the Shankill Road. And I was going, fucking hell, I'll go to the bathroom here. But it wasn't that
I
way.
mean,
No.
I was
Never came under it.
No.
Never.
Never came under it.
But up to that point in my life, I hadn't known many young Protestants my age.
Mhm.
Met a few when I went and done residentials and things like that, but not in the same context, especially ones from Derry, until the point. No, it was just like, right, sweet.
Sweet.
I'm not sure.
And then you met them the next week and they were all right. But,
And we're still friends to this day, you know.
but then when you think about it, when the point that was going on, you had all some of the big main atrocities that happened in this country happened at the same time. Like you had Grace David, Shankill Bomb, and Oma.
and we were already coming together, like, you know, the two
But I think that's
communities.
what I think the mentality of people has changed with that because of our generation that got together. And
I believe
the
we were a big part
the
of it.
dance culture and the drug culture.
And politics
and
was
whatever
left. The politics was left aside.
aside. There was never no crap.
You
like.
wouldn't even know who.
But it was
who
quite
the
strange
Catholic
even
or
to see
who-
if you knew somebody that was maybe from
Yeah,
West
but that's-
Belfast and then standing with a Protestant from the waterside.
So for them,
So you were thinking, Jesus, what's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? But they're probably.
but it was the
they
same
just
for
fucking-
everybody. You know, it had a big part in my generation and everybody I knew having no interest in anything troubles related. We had our own
agenda.
thing. We had our own thing that we were fully committed to, and it was nothing but good times.
And it was like a
good
revolution.
people.
It was like the 70s. Really, when you
I
think
agree.
about free love and fucking blah, blah, blah.
I never get none of that. Did you get any free love, Mickey?
No, I don't know.
know.
I was just asked to dance and go home.
But that, you know what I mean? Like 70s was a big, and even the punk era was a big thing. And
The whole youth movement.
It
Youth
was.
culture just expressing itself, and it just came out. I think it was the last big revolution, really. Nothing's happened since.
No,
really.
seriously.
We've all got very Americanized, and the internet's taking over everything, and music
Social
seems
media.
to be getting lost.
Should we no phones in them times?
so we have no clubs in there anymore.
Wow.
What a
That's
fucking
sad, like, you know.
sad. Like, well, hopefully that'll change very soon. But when you look at the likes of Belfast and things that have all the great clubs, and we have really.
But
nothing.
even them cities are struggling compared to what they used to be. We were just operating on a smaller scale anyway, and ours has disappeared for the most part. You know, as regards underground music, like.
Well, you were telling me, Darren, so you're 50 that night and you're playing down the stairs. Well, that's my favourite place in the night, is down the stairs.
It's a good room.
Brilliant to play in. So, can I ask, what is the lineup for that night, Paul?
The lineup, Mickey, for this one is very good. We went back in time and just thought all the DJs that we're going to bring this time are going to be relevant. They're going to play the music that we want played. Sometimes in the past we've gone and we've brought on big names that have played. Maybe
And you still like the music?
No, it wasn't. They didn't play the same music.
They didn't
Sort
play
of.
the
It was.
music that we were looking for. We were looking for like all the big point tunes, all the stuff that was played, and the people that played it all the time was the people that were there every week.
People connected with the place.
So it selects a Vertigo, Gleave, Jacko.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Jacko.
Darren will do a bit, Charlie will do a bit, Colin Biss is coming back down out of retirement to do a wee bit.
You're being used to doing a back-to-back
Me and
set.
Charlie will do back to back.
Up the stairs as well?
No, we're doing the main.
The main room?
Right.
Right, okay, right.
We'll be on the
Do a
start
bit
back.
down as well.
Right.
So I'm
Just
looking
like the
forward
old point on,
Like the
just
old
the way.
way. So
You're
that's-
having Jacko? Well, you say I actually fancy Jacko.
to it.
Oh, that's
I'll let Mark know that.
Oh, lovely.
Well, there'll be a meet and greet that night.
Oh no! You'll remember me anyway because you used to climb and tell them about yes, Jacko. But
I know it's all the usual heads.
Aye.
And we'll be doing a wee thing, the Honor Chris too that night. So
That's nice. Can I just say it's an absolute honour to be involved on it and the lineup? Like, you know, the fact that it's my birthday a few days before, it's like, right, okay, I don't have to organise a party then. This is what I'm doing.
We'll be
so-
some state if it's your 50th, my 51st.
I'll be well off behaved, Charlie.
I cannot wait. So, is there
Like, you see if you get me any presents. See if you get them snowballs, you know the ones you eat.
the ones you get in the bakery?
Aye.
Oh, aye. The 2 for £1.
Aye.
Come here.
Stories
So,
is the best.
Stories.
is there who's finishing the set? Who's last guest?
End of the night's going to be Gleave. Gleave's going to be racking out because the set he done at the end in Columns Hall, 2011 was
amazing.
Oh, sure, I know I was
The
there.
whole place was going mad.
Oh.
So Gleave's going to be the end again this time.
Aye.
No better man, like.
When you look back in the video of that,
I know.
That's
me and
class.
Joe Connor on the stage fucking having a dance off.
Hey, but that's the thing about the point. Then we had no mobile phones and
I
all,
know.
and then we're fucking 30, 40 years age standing on a fucking patio of a reunion. But we might get some clips because there'll be another podcast after this
Right,
with some interviews and things they do. And then on the night we'll maybe do a few things and we'll post them all up. So don't forget to log on to the Point and Reunion 1 Facebook page, and you can also get tickets on
Skittle. So you can get tickets for the Point and Reunion, skittle.com or in Kildiscs, and I wouldn't hang about. I would get them as quick as possible.
Do I have to pay for a ticket?
Michael, you're on the list.
Oh yes! Once in my life I'm on the guest up to the Point and for all the 10 years I had to pay to get on dance in front of everybody. Everybody's entertainer. Now I'm getting on the guest list. What a privilege, eh? What a privilege.
You'll be there, and
I'll be the first at the door.
and then you're going to holidays next morning.
I'll be first. No, well.
That's the plan.
Well, that's the plan anyway.
And Darren, you'll be
Obviously.
partying all
You'll be
weekend,
partying.
probably.
No, there'll be none of that these days. But I'll be partying that night for sure. I'm sure Tara will give me a license that night.
So,
For one night.
guys, thanks for coming on today's podcast. Great to
Thanks
hear
for
your
having us.
experiences and your stories and stuff.
I'm
and
really,
that there.
really an honour to be here, and it's mad sitting in front of 3 people that I admired all my life growing up, even though you're saying, you're looking at me. That's how I was, because you're all 6 and 7 years older than me. So I was, well, you are. I'm only 45. So, no, you're not. So for me, it's an honour. Believe it or not.
Same for me.
It's an honour for us to have you on.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next one.